February 17th, 9:30 a.m. And my name is Todd Hartley. I'm the vice chair of this board, and unfortunately Jasper's not here today, so I'm going to be leading the meeting. Okay, legal notice. As information for our audience, if you are not satisfied with the decision made by the Metro Board of Fair Commissioners today, you may appeal the decision by petitioning for a writ of cert with the Davidson County Chancery or Circuit Court. Your appeal must be filed within 60 days of the date of entry of the board's decision. To ensure that your appeal is filed in a timely manner and that all procedural requirements have been met, please be advised that you should contact your own independent legal counsel. And good news for you guys today, because there's only two of us here, we don't have a quorum, so we will make no decisions, we will only discuss. And hopefully that also makes the meeting go faster. Okay, I can't approve the minutes, so I'm going to skip that. Public comment, we have no one signed up for public comment. Does anyone like to speak for public comment? Nope, you guys are all regulars. You are not here to speak for public comment. Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to go to our campus partner updates now. And first, we're going to have, because they have a graphic on their picture, so they're on the top, we're going to go with Geodis and Nashville Soccer Club for the update. I see Lindsay Paola coming to the lectern.
Good morning. So today is the start of our 2026 season. We have our first match tonight. It's the CONCACAF Champions Cup in Ottawa, so it'll be a bit chilly. It's 7 o'clock tonight on FS2, so that's leg 1 of 2 for the CCC. The second leg is February 24th here at Geodis Park. So if we win, we go forward to the next round, which is featuring our friends in Miami, Inter Miami. So hopefully we win these 2 legs and advance to the second round. Our home opener for the regular season is Saturday, February 21st at 7:30 against New England Revolution. So we're excited for the start of the official season. We also have some other exciting events that we've announced recently. So the women's national team will be here March 1st against Argentina for the She Believes Cup tournament. We've hosted them in the past. It's always a very great turnout, so we're excited for that. And then the big news, our Olympics. So we will be hosting soccer matches for the LA 2028 Olympics. We don't know how many matches we're going to host. We assume we'll get men's and women's teams, but we're one of 7 venues who will be hosting Olympic soccer matches. So we're very excited about that. When I have more details, I will share them. The LA 28 host committee is very private about any information coming out. So I don't really have anything other than that to share, but happy to answer any questions.
Questions? 2 questions, Lindsay. One to comment awesome about soccer with the Olympics. That's super cool. Really excited. The question would mostly be for Laura, is just to make sure or ask that we make sure we're doing some forward planning. Having done a couple of Olympics related things in the past, I know that those are incredibly complex and they're going to be super particular. So let's make sure we bend over to make that work for the campus as a whole. I guess that's not a question. That was just a statement to Laura. Apologies. Question is, anything different this year with the opening of a new season? Anything for the Fairgrounds to do to help you guys have a successful season? Anything we can do?
I don't think there's anything particular on this side. We're doing a bunch on the other side, actually, with regard to our rideshare program. So we're making a significant change. It used to be within Fair Park. It's now out on Craighead, and I think with the wider amount of space, it will actually help substantially because that's one of the areas where we get a lot of feedback. So our rideshare program is changing, and we're opening up more lots. So hopefully parking in general is better this season, but I can't think of anything at the moment that the Fairgrounds can help with, but I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your report.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next, let's have the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, because they have a great red graphic, so they can be next.
Good morning, and thank you. I did put some schedules and invitations for the banquet. We have our annual awards banquet this Sunday here at the Fairgrounds, so you're more than welcome to come there. The schedule is there. We're getting ready to get started, and we'll have some pretty big announcements coming up in the next 10 to 14 days about some of our races and people coming to race with us and things of that nature. So we're getting excited for it, have a media day, and then our regular season gets started. So any questions or
all right
comments?
Diego, any questions? Same question for you. Anything the Fairgrounds can do to help you this year? I see Laura's working on some technology over there, but is there anything we can do to help you guys have a successful season?
I don't think anything out of normal. We'll present a normal maintenance list and some painting and things of that nature, and we'll work together on that. And then the promotions of each event, we always work real close with Laura and her staff on that. So those two things that are just normal every year items.
And Laura, the question was just ways of collaboration. Is there anything concerning for you for either soccer or racing with the schedules coming out and their seasons both kind of kicking off?
No, I mean, it's jam-packed, but, you know, we're an event venue, so we're good. We'll make it work.
Thank you, Bob.
All right, thank you.
All right, next, let's hear from our mixed-use partner there, Dirk. No graphics, I'm just going to have to guess what you got to talk about. Go ahead.
Just an update. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's February 17th, maybe too late to say Happy New Year, but Happy New Year for somebody seeing you guys. So everything continues to go well at 445 Park Commons. The building continues to be stabilized with residential leasing. We are now actively working on some of the retail in the front of the building. And so you guys may have seen, regrettably, Barista Parlor closed 4 of their locations in Nashville after the first of the year. Ours was one of them. And so we're actively trying to find another coffee purveyor to fill that space so that we can offer that to the community when we're able to get that repositioned. In brighter news, we should have Tempo Day Spa opening in about a month next to Scout's Barbershop. I'm not sure what a day spa does, but I do think that Scouts has been successful with just removing the gray hairs out of my head, so maybe the med spa can help me with something else. So we'll see what that is able to do. And then we have Voodoo Brewery still under construction. They're a little bit behind schedule, but we're hopeful that they can open here in the spring / summer for that. Operationally, we expect this season between soccer and racing to be pretty much identical to last season. Lots 10 and 11 will be available for parking for those events for the foreseeable future, and we'll continue to offer the garage and Block C for campus events, identical arrangement to what we did last season. So we just look forward to further collaboration with Laura and her team, and hope for a smooth leasing season as we get into the spring. So happy to answer any questions.
Questions, Diego? A couple quick questions. One, and I lost track of this, so let's just talk about it on a public meeting. The micro sort of creator space, what's the status of that?
Oh, sure. Great question. We have engaged in a lease agreement with the Arts and Business Council of Greater Nashville for that, and we're going to be presenting that at the next public meeting of the Community Action Committee. I believe that's scheduled for March 30th. So we'll have a more meaningful update there with logistics, how that's going to roll out, but we now have an operating partner for the space, and we're awfully excited because, unlike us, they know what they're doing, and we just want to help them, collaborate on that space and hopefully get it operational as soon as possible.
Awesome. That's going to be great for the creative community, so I really appreciate you guys working on that. Second one, I think this was in your kind of comments on the lots, but any update on where the capital markets are, where you are on sort of your future projects after this project is up and running?
Yeah, entering into first quarter 26, Commissioner, capital markets pretty rough right now. So we're looking for signs out there about lower interest rates or lower construction costs. We're continuing to season those opportunities, but we're really subject to what the market can do for us. So wish us luck because we're eager to get something moving.
I got you. So it sounds like a little on hold right now for those other parcels.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, that's going to be it. Let's move to our capital projects update.
Good morning, board members. I'm Don Collins with Collier Engineering, so thank you for having me out today. So since we were last together as a group, there's been new projects have initiated and new projects winding down. And so highlights would include on the Wingrove intersection improvement project. As far as permitting and design, the project team is currently reviewing contractor submittals. So the traffic signal equipment submittals have been approved and sent back to the contractor. Storm structure submittals are still under review, and we are also coordinating with Metro Water Services on required pre-construction meetings for the public water and utility work that's occurred on the site. As far as active construction work on the Wingrove project, Wingrove has been closed to through traffic with starting yesterday, I believe, with all the boards and traffic control that's in place. The retaining wall construction along Wingrove has started construction within the past 2 weeks and is expected to last approximately 6 weeks. And then utility and storm drainage work will follow. As also, while the through traffic on Wingrove has been closed, the local traffic that needs access can still get through there to where they have to get to their residences and their driveways. And then there's ongoing coordination with TDOT and Metro to stay in front of ongoing lane closures that are anticipated. Next project that is drawing to a close is Lot 2 here adjacent to us. Since we were last together, the storm drainage and the bottom retention ponds have been completed. The permanent trap boardwalk has been completed, and as you've seen recently, the paving has been completed as well. Remaining work to be done is final stabilization, irrigation, and landscaping. There are some final coordination items to be done, and that includes some work on the boardwalk and the handrail associated with the boardwalk, and then also evaluating as-built documentation to close out construction permits. And there's also some work going on with the irrigation system to coordinate controllers with the existing Expo Center irrigation with the new irrigation system with possible upgrades to that system in the spring. And then also on the WeGo NDOT collaboration on Wingrove is that our project is one of the early demonstration projects for the Choose How You Move, the bus stop is. And so I think you'll see as time goes on, as that gets under construction, that you'll probably see some press associated with that to show that there's progress made on the transit program. Next steps on the active construction projects is that we are coordinating retaining wall inspections and traffic control operations with the contractor. Also working with Metro Water Services to get final approvals in place for the utility work on Wingrove. And then we are working with the contractor to maintain readiness and access around the active campus events that you've heard about today. Also, there is some work on a trailhead sign that the design is about complete, and once that is done, we'll submit that to Laura and her team for comments and additional approval. And then there's also some spoil material that has been stockpiled at the R.C. Matthews site up next to the 445 Parkway site that Bell is anticipating having that removed by the end of the first quarter. And then also, lastly, there are some surplus pavers that Laura and her team will be selling through the Metro surplus property process to help clean up some inventory around the campus. And so that's the conclusion of our report for this meeting. Any questions from the team?
Diego, any questions? 1 second, Don. Don, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Don told us what we're doing. Now Ed's going to come up and tell us how we're spending our money. Go ahead, Ed.
Exactly. Good morning. So just as you said, Commissioner, Don gave highlights of a lot of the projects that are active right now. What I'll be presenting to you is kind of a budget that has a bit of a tailwind behind it. There's about 60-ish days of lag between the activity that's completed out on the site here and the numbers that I review. You all have heard that time and time again. Just always like to mention it. And then one just quick update on a few kind of tweaks, I'll call it, to how the dashboard looks. There's been a change at Metro and Metro Finance and how they categorize and some of the nomenclature that they used around business units, now called cost centers, And so at the heading of the different graphs that you have, there used to be a little capital B, capital U that was at the top of the page. It's now CC for cost center. It's an abbreviation for cost center instead of business unit. And then those numbers have only changed slightly. Materially, that makes no difference to you all. Just if you're looking and you notice the difference, wanted to make sure we highlighted it here. As far as the Fairgrounds improvement projects, the blue sheet, there's been no activity since the last report that I gave in November. As far as the Fair Park, just want to make sure everyone's aware there is ongoing maintenance. So because there's been a couple months since I was before you, there's a couple of invoices that have come through that have hit that project budget, but no other material changes there. And happy to dive into infrastructure, which relates heavily to what Don reported on here. If you recall at I guess that was a November meeting, kind of going into the end of last year, I've noted that you'd start to see a bit of increase in the volume of dollars spent on construction. Obviously, Don highlighted a lot of efforts that have gone into the design and engineering side, hence why we got pre-construction meetings and some things under review. And so you'll see quite a bit of an activity on this sheet, just under $1 million of spend in the construction bucket since the last time I presented to you. So that was around 9 or 10% back in November. It's now at 13%. And like I said, you'll start to see that line item move pretty aggressively as we go forward here as work starts to pick up. And we've hit a milestone, out of these funds that are there allocated, we're at about 40%. As you note, that construction line item kind of danced around 5 or 6% for a while until we started to pick up, and now it's kind of doubled since, I guess it was maybe September's report. So just highlighting that activity is starting to pick up, and glad to address any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Ed. Diego, any questions? All right, I have one question. This is, apologies, not an accountant, so please help me with this. So this is Fair Park, and we talked about maintenance. When does this move from like a capital cost to an ongoing operating cost? And is it within our budget or is it within another Metro department?
So the extended maintenance contract that Ed referred to will be through about November of 2026,
Yep.
and those will cease. Once that point, then we'll take over and it'll transition to our normal operating through our landscape object account.
Do you have any budget concerns or just operating concerns around that?
No, I mean, we did
you've been
budget.
planning for it, so.
We budgeted for it coming up in the FY27 budget. It was, granted, it was a substantial increase in that line because we're doing all of, we budgeted all of the right-of-ways and shared space. So it was about $86,000 for an entire year of shared space maintenance. And that includes Fair Plaza and potential snow ice removal for the winter.
The reason I'm bringing it up is, those lower fields and the dog, is that the lower fields and dog park?
No,
Okay.
Metro Park still covers that. So
Okay.
phase one will still be under Parks purview. Everything else will be under ours. And then Market Street and Geodis will take care of their immediate leased footprints.
I got you. So for the foreseeable future, dog park and the lower fields are going to be Metro Parks.
That's correct. That was
Understood.
part of the MOU, the 5-year MOU that we approved, I believe it was in 2024.
Thank you. Thank you, Ed.
No, thank you.
And since we did a capital project update, I always like to just remind everybody, let's center ourselves in the fact that this is a multi-year, construction project that we are in the middle of. Hopefully DIRT can get some cash so we can continue to build on the campus, but we just always keep in mind to be patient because we're building as we go and using the facility quite heavily. So I just always think it's good to center ourselves in that. All right, we're going to go to division updates, and first, my favorite report, finance, from Satrice. Go ahead.
Hello.
I'm just I'm really extra excited today for some reason. Go ahead, Satrice.
Hello. So as Mr. Hentley mentioned earlier, Metro is going through a transition as far as our accounting system is concerned. We're going from Oracle R12 to Oracle Cloud. That happened January 2nd, 2026. So we all in Metro having to learn a new system. Yay for us. So some terminology has changed, and Ed did mention that we no longer consider business units, they're cost centers now, and we no longer consider departments, they're divisions. And so I will try to use the new terminology. So you guys know in the past I've considered our different segments divisions. So I have to change that language. So we will call them line of business now. So on to the report. Metro Charter mandates that certain activities be conducted on the property of the fairgrounds, which include a divisional fair, expo center events, flea markets, and auto racing. I will present financial information disclosing the revenues and expenses associated with fulfilling said mandates. The financial information reported today is preliminary, as all revenues and expenses for January 2026 may not have been recorded to the ledgers, as the period has not officially closed. As of January 2026, we have 58% of the fiscal year has passed, and we have earned $2.5 million. We have received an investment of approximately $494,800, and we've spent around $3 million, resulting in a difference of approximately $17,500. Depreciation expense is $814,400, so the total variance for depreciation is roughly $796,800. Our annualized budget, which is the budget that we projected for this fiscal year, we projected to collect $4.6 million in revenue, and we projected to spend $5 million, leaving a variance of $355,100. The next section is revenue. So we're going to compare our year-to-date budget to actuals for each line of business. And for flea market, we are under budget by 20%. The contributing factor to that, one of the contributing factors, is the winter storm that we had. We had revenue loss of about $46,200 due to some events, due to the flea market that we canceled for January. For events, we are over budget in revenue by 1%. We've collected $9,400 in addition to our year-to-date budget. We expect it to be over budget by more than 1%. However, again, because of winter storms, we had events that were canceled, so our lost revenue in that category is about $77,000. Divisional fair, we are over budget in revenue by 122%, and that is because most of our revenue is gained at the beginning of the year. For contracts, we are over budget in revenue by 25%, and that is due to us receiving our ground lease payment of $173,148. In other revenue collected, we've collected $37,870 in interest and unrealized gains. And for our financing resources or our investment, we've received, as mentioned earlier, $494,800. For our expenses, for flea market, we are under budget by 22%. For events, we are over budget by 16%, $47,242. And that is due to our larger events that we held in November and December, multi-day events, our Christmas Village, our Panda Fest, our Tattoo Fest. For Divisional Fair, for our expenses, we're over budget by 41% in expenses, and that is due to the fact that Fair uses a lot of their expenses at the first half of the year, of the fiscal year, and then it starts to trail off. So we'll see that percentage decrease down, and they'll be within budget for their expenses for the fiscal year. For contracts, we're under budget by 51%. And for admin, we're under budget by 9%. The next section is gains and losses. Essentially, this section has the same information shown above at the beginning of the report. It shows how much each line of business contributes to the gain or the loss for the month. And I just want to highlight the total amount collected in revenue as actual is $3 million, and that includes the investment plus what we've earned, and the amount of spent is around $3 million as well, which is the difference of $17,500. For our property tax proration, we have received $350,976. And for our Asian report, we have approximately $65,900 in outstanding invoices, and all the promoters have been contacted and invoiced. Are there any questions?
Diego?
Yep, so let's start with, are there, if we needed to highlight anything unusual or unexpected that has happened thus far this year, what would it be? If there's anything.
The winter storm. The winter storm.
Winter storm, in terms of cost, how much of that cost us? What's the cost of opportunity of that?
$123,000.
Okay. And looking forward for what's left of the fiscal year, what are we seeing? What are we worried about? Do we think we're going to land pretty close to what we budgeted initially?
At this time, we think the $123,000 loss is going to be realized.
So we're taking that loss. Anything else outside of that we see? Just as planned plus that loss, minus that loss? Do we know if there's any conversation in Metro about how to help with those losses?
Well, as far as expenses, a specific cost center has been set up for us to bill hard costs. We will be pursuing FEMA reimbursement for some of our labor and equipment use, as we did for the April flooding event. Although we all know that does take time. FEMA also does not reimburse for lost revenue. The advice that we got in April was potentially going to another granting source like Small Business Association, but that was not successful in April, so I really don't expect us to qualify for that for this storm. We did notify everyone during the winter storm of the potential revenue loss, so I'm not really concerned at this point that won't be additionally supported if we can't make up that difference.
And within our capabilities for generating revenue to make up for some of that loss, if we've looked into that, is there room in our calendar to get more events, to get anything else? Is there new business that we could be thinking of to make up for some of that loss?
New business, doubtful, because our calendar is
Pretty packed.
or at least our weekends are fully booked.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that our event services team is doing a bang-up job at trying to fill the weekday vacancies, and they have recently. They're not as lucrative, of course, but they are additional revenue to help offset that.
Great, thank you. No more questions.
Just to add on that, and I meant to say this up top because I wanted to say it in front of a group because I already told you privately, Laura. A lot of things happened with the storm in Nashville. I think one really positive part of the storm response was the Fairgrounds Nashville. You guys did an awesome job. I know we had thousands of stays here over an 8-day period, a couple hundred people per day. So you know what? I kind of say cost of doing business, cost of serving the community, and I know Diego would agree. We lost that money because we didn't have the events, but it was worth it because we were a resource for the community. So I just want to say good job on that. Y'all did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
I second that.
The other thing I was going to note, and then I wanted, Satrice, I know you're going to give us the budget submission discussion, but one thing we were talking about beforehand is, and Diego, I think this is for us to think about, is like, you look at the flea market, you look at all the events, and those two really solid on the P&L. And the fair is trending positively as well, and it's sort of a question of scale and continued growth in that event. So I feel really good on the overall trajectory of everything. I mean, it's trending over time, and I know Satrice is going to talk about sort of what our deficit is and how it's kind of trending over time, but this actually seems like a pretty good direction to be on. I mean, we're really, our goal here is to be a service to the community. We get to zero, we're providing benefits. We've got some tough events we have to put on given the space constraints, and I think we're trending in the right direction. So that's my take. I just wanted to give a little feedback on that. So thanks for the report, and we can move to the budget when you're ready.
Yeah, I would just add, I think the new way that you established to visualize things per, now not division, but line of business, that makes it very helpful, right? I think it's clarifying how a lot of things have been trending in the right direction. It was just a matter of visibility. Now that you're able to see it more clearly, that's very helpful. So also kudos to that. Look at us, we're all happy today.
Yes, we're happy. So we'll move on to our FY27 budget submission. You have there a snapshot. So we're in budget season, and we submitted our FY27 budget to finance this month. So the first section you will see is the revenue estimates, and we estimate that we will bring in $4.5 million. That is an increase of 23% of what we expected this fiscal year. This fiscal year, we expected to bring in $3.6 million. So that doesn't include any type of subsidy or investment. And so we have increased there, and we're excited about that. And a lot of that is due to the fact that we have larger multi-day events that we will be hosting this coming fiscal year. And our events team can elaborate more on that. The next section is our estimated expenses. We expect to spend $4.5 million, which is an increase of 4.5% from this year. However, this estimate does not include low-cap ITS or insurance cost. It does not include any type of increment, merit increase, or cost of living adjustments. It is just straight expenses that we know.
If you had to add those expenses based on previous years, what would be the increase in expense? Ballpark.
Close to, see, our low cap this year was $666,800. So I would say 700.
700 and change.
Mm-hmm.
And the increase in revenue, you said 23% increase?
Yes.
That's
big.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a big jump.
Yes.
You feel pretty good about it? Okay.
We
I mean,
feel
I
good.
just looked at all the events, so it looks like a lot. So anyway, keep going.
Yeah. For our budget modifications, those are things that we're asking for. We've requested $95,000 in other purchase services. Those services include like janitorial, security, ancillary items. Those are things that we procure for our promoters, and we are reimbursed for those. And that's due to, again, our increase in larger events, multi-day events. We are also requesting funding for utility carts or golf carts to maintain the current number that we use during the fair. The cost has increased by 300%. And so we are requesting that difference. If we use the Metro contract, that's why it's 300%. So we're requesting that difference. We are also requesting $66,300 in funding for the landscaping and grounds maintenance services that Laura mentioned earlier concerning our extended maintenance contract that will be ending at the end of this month. So we're requesting funding to cover that. For our investment request, we are requesting $66,800, which currently is our low cap total. This fiscal year, FY26, we requested 989,600. So our request is trending downward. That is a decrease of about 33%. That we'll be asking for an investment from the city. The next two sections are concerning capital request. We are asking for, we're asking for, requesting a customer relationship management system, a baler, and a tankless water heater. All of that totals $250,000. We're also requesting $46 million for parking structure, $300,000 for a backup generator, for power outages, and $150 million for speedway improvements and additional fair site improvements. Any other questions?
Diego, questions?
Sorry to take us back at the top of the list, but in increasing our top line is always great in the revenue side of things. But in relation to revenue versus expense, do we have a strategy where we're trying to pursue events that have better margins that will allow us to grow our revenue faster than the expenses that come with those new revenue opportunities? In other ways, how are we looking at optimization and improvements on the cost side?
I think you'll see, and when event services comes up, you'll see that a lot of our new large-scale events are a lot less labor intensive on our part. We are booking out Fair Park more, which generally has little expense on our side for those types of events, the outdoor events. And then some of our larger events like volleyball, cheerleading, again, most of those have a very low expense obligation from our side. So the P&L on those is very high, and those are what the type of events that we're seeing adding to our schedule.
Great. Yeah, just one thing I'll add to that, just being in the event business a little bit, in my main job, those multi-days are good because those load in, load out days can really slow you down, so, yeah.
And the other thing that is, I'll just note, like on the, where did I see it? The pass-through for like custodial services, like we're increasing our budget for custodial services to service our events, but that is a pass-through, and that also is something that is paid for by our clients. So while we're increasing our expenses, our revenue is also covering that, plus a small administrative piece that goes along with the scheduling and the management of those services.
Great, thanks.
All right, my questions are on some of these capital requests. So just un-metro this for me. 4% request means what versus capital request? Because that's all capital, right?
Right. 4% is usually regarding dollar amount and life expectancy.
Okay.
So you just categorize it by such.
It's an in-between.
Okay, sort of capital. Okay, I got it. Okay.
It's capital, but yeah, it's shorter life capital. So think about you're buying a car with that, not a building.
Okay.
To oversimplify.
I guess the last question, again, assuming we might have a flat metro budget, we might not, I don't know. I'm not in the knowledge of that, but like, do they let you triage this? Like, do you have an order of like what you would ask for? So can you kind of, what's your like number one get on here?
They're in the order.
Okay, great.
The other
All
thing,
right.
sorry, the other thing
please.
I wanted to note on the capital, since you brought it up, the 46 million, the 300,000, that's actually double of what the ask was. And the reason being is you don't know if their revenue bonds or GO bonds or 4%. So for instance, the generator that we have here,
We were advised that it could fall potentially into both categories of 4% and capital. So we were advised when we entered that into the system to put both. So technically the estimate on the generator is 150,000, but it totals out to 300 because we listed it in both funds, just for full clarification.
I mean, in all honesty, how I read that is like further negotiation will happen before we're not going to like sign up for $150 million without a lot of discussion. So it's good to have it on here, but it's not like super actionable. All right, any other questions on the budget submission? All right, great. Support. Move on to the next report, which is going to be personnel, and I am calling on, is me, or me, you? Me is you.
It could be either.
You, go ahead. Any personnel updates?
We have nothing to report. We're, of course, now that we're into 2026, we'll be working on, annual performance appraisals, but that's not till for another few months yet. So we're just holding fast at the moment.
Yep. All right, we're just going to go ahead and move on to event services, and I'm calling on Scott, I think, first to come talk, and also Darren. However y'all want to do it.
Good morning. Good morning. I just want to point out first over here at the table, if you get a chance before you leave today, last December we went to the international fairs and expositions, and we won a few awards, which means a lot, not just to us, but to our volunteers and staff because they work so hard. So we were able to, the story of food, we were able to repeat winning in our division for the story of food. In 2024, we submitted our farm to fridge, which was story of milk. Last year, we submitted the pollinator exhibit. And then this year, too, we also won the best promotional item, which was our cowbell. But then the cup was, in the agricultural division, we were the highest score. So that was really nice to be awarded that. But this year, we're going to go try to repeat. We're adding basically water. So we're going to have the story of water, where our water comes from, how it getting tongue-tied up here. How it impacts.
Water is a very emotional subject.
It is a very one. But how we use it in our daily lives. So that's our story this year. Also, I know we just were awarded a grant from the Tennessee Association of Fairs and the Department of Agriculture. So we're very proud of that. Of course, we can't vote on that today without a quorum, but it was an amount of, I think, a little over $83,000. We'll be, on behalf of the Tennessee Association of Fairs on March 10th, we'll be having Fair Day on the Hill, advocating for additional funding for all fairs of Tennessee for hopefully $3 million. So if you know somebody and can put in a good word, we definitely would like that. So, this is huge for all fairs of Tennessee, not just ours. So, but our fair's kicking off here. Of course, it'll be in September the 11th, kicking off on 9/11. And it's fun for the whole country. So we're going to go patriotic this year to celebrate 250 years. We got a lot of new things we're going to add to the fair. Expand some of our contests. Our beauty pageant that was new last year. This year we'll also be recognizing basically a distinguished service award. We're coming into our 5th year, so there's a lot of things that we need to establish and recognize people's hard work. But we're excited. Any questions for the fair?
Diego, questions?
Is this grant something that we've gotten in the past, or is this new money?
No, this is the first. We drafted this, the first for the Nashville Fair to be awarded. We first was awarded some funding back in 2020 during COVID for fairs. And then we've been advocating ever since to get that reoccurring, and ultimately it's for capital improvements for Fairgrounds, because just like what we went through a few weeks ago, all fairgrounds at some point become a disaster relief place for all communities. And to have the infrastructure, everything from just nice clean bathrooms to RV spots, hookups, it benefits everyone, not just the fair, the event itself, but the fairgrounds. It's more, we kind of view fairgrounds as more of a park. It's for the whole community to come out statewide. So
great job getting it.
All right.
I agree. Great job. And Scott, so I see, some conversations earlier about, how we're trending really positively. And I see in our budget submission snapshot that we're sort of estimating that we'll sort of close the delta on our fare costs from about a $700,000 revenue versus expense to a $500,000 next year. So that's great. Can you kind of elaborate between Satrice and Scott, like kind of what's driving that?
Okay. Well, ultimately, having a gap between 2019 from when the state fair last was held on this property to ultimately 2022. So starting over, even though there's a rich history of having fairs on this property, we were starting at ground zero. Rebranding, basically getting a whole new demographic clientele to come experience the fair. And it will continually, in my opinion, grow. And of course, within the space that we're allowed to grow, our footprint plays a huge part of that. But each year, if you go back, unless there's rain, but I kind of think that we're going to always grow at somewhere around 7% on the revenue side to be on safe. Our email database keeps growing, repeat customers, all that will just, the revenue side. So if we can control the expense side, which there are some things this year, as you can see in the budget, that are out of our control with procurement, with certain contracts. So we're going to have to address some of those things and try to keep our budget as close as possible.
So just to say that back to you, so it's sort of a repeat, a network effect, repeat event. You're gonna have some goodwill associated with that. So it's growing over time because you're hoping to grow the gate receipts essentially.
For sure. And then, like you stated earlier, we've got years of construction. So we are still under construction. So until we're totally finished to have a final product of what the fair will really look like, that's when we'll know how we can really, I guess, grow and utilize the property from that point forward.
Great. Well, look forward to hearing more about the detailed plans on that, but that's a good direction to be on, a good North Star. So okay. Thanks, Scott.
Well, thanks.
Okay. All right. We have Darren coming up now. Many other events. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Ryan is not here, so you're stuck with me. As an update on some of the events that we've had since our last meeting, we've had Christmas Village, which they had a record-breaking year. This year, they let us know that they were able to donate over $700,000 to their charities. We had our New Year's Eve concert, Blank Canvas. They broke their attendance record from last year, so it was even larger. And then most recently, we had the Battle of Broadway, which is a youth volleyball tournament. It's a new event for us, and we do have them on the books again for next year already. Kind of going off of Winter Storm Fern, we did have to cancel 4 events. One of our internal events, the flea market, and then we had the East Coast Home Show, Stones River Swap Meet, and the Nashville Celebrity Comic-Con. Celebrity Comic-Con did find a new location at Music City Center. They were able to accommodate them, and then we do have them back on the books for October, so we should see them back here at the Fairgrounds. We did resume our events last week with the Nashville Antique Show and Fiddlers. Both of them were very successful. We heard from the Nashville Antique Show. It was their largest event here that he can remember as far as attendance goes. So it was, I think people were excited to kind of get back out and attend some events. Upcoming, we have 2 events actually in the expo spaces right now. And then later this afternoon, we load in our card show for this weekend. And then next week, we do the bar exam. And then we have the Nashville Black Market paired along with our Nashville Flea Market. That's kind of an update on past, present, and then in the next couple of weeks.
And do you want to let them know of our really fun announcement?
So I have gotten a verbal confirmation of the USA volleyball. We're going to do the USA Grass Volleyball Championships this October. So we're in the process of getting that contract signed, but they have given us the verbal agreement. So we're starting to build out that event.
All right, that's cool. Love it. That's good. Yeah. Nashville SC better watch out. We're coming for the sports down here at the flea market, or the fairgrounds. Awesome. That's great. That's a wonderful update. Any questions, Diego?
I do want to plug our event services team. They've been really proactive in seeking out event opportunities, responding to RFPs, following up on leads that NCVC sends. So I just want to give them a shout out because our budget and the dramatic increase in revenue for event services is due to their efforts and those of other Nashville partners who send us referrals and such. So it's definitely a team effort, but under great leadership of our event services team. So I do want to thank them for all their work.
100% agree. I mean, we can see it in the P&L that this is driving a lot of the delta. So really, really good report. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. And thoughts and prayers to the bar exam participants coming up. All right, last we got the executive director's report. That's going to Laura. Laura, go ahead.
All right. First off, you know, we can't do what we do without our wonderful team. So we have 2 anniversaries that I want to mention. Unfortunately, they are not here in the room, but Misty Reynolds is celebrating 10 years here at the Fairgrounds, and then Bobby Burns at 20 years. So, you know, I think that says a lot about the Fairgrounds and the loyalty and longevity of our team, helps us certainly in our success. You mentioned the shelter, and I do want to take a little bit of time to thank the Red Cross. This was the first time for me that I have worked with the Red Cross as they completely managed the shelter on Metro's behalf. And it was amazing because our shelter manager flew in from LA. We had management from Texas, from all over the country that flew in to get this up and running so quickly. So the Red Cross, Metro Nashville Fire Department, Metro Nashville PD, the Sheriff's Office, Public Health supplied nurses along with Red Cross nurses, and then Metro Social Services, who took the opportunity to work with those people who were staying here because there were needs outside of the storm, and so it was a really good opportunity for them for outreach. So just wanted to mention that, and again, thanks staff, because you know we several of us dealt with some of the similar issues with power outages and lack of internet and things like that. So we were able to support the shelter as we could, but really those people who worked here 24 hours a day, they're the true heroes of that, because I know personally from those shelter people who came here for warmth, they were very, very appreciative. And we had a litter of 5 puppies that were born here during our shelter. So a lot of people really appreciated having their pets here. We had many dogs, we had cats, and we had a bunny. So there you go.
Which is so appropriate for a fairgrounds.
It is.
As Scott was saying earlier, like, this is such a great, I mean, just because you live in a city doesn't mean you don't have agriculture, you don't have animals in your life. So that's awesome, Laura.
Yeah, it was,
really good job.
It was good to be able to have them here.
Awesome. Thank you for that report, Laura. One thing, any questions for Laura, Diego? Okay, one note, and I mentioned to you this before, you know, obviously we had an excellent response, I think, here at the Fairgrounds to the winter storm. And one thing Laura and I talked about, which I just want to put on the record here and for Diego's comment too, is, you know, how can we be prepared to make sure that whatever the biggest emergency risk for us at the Fairgrounds is, that we're prepared for that. In other words, you know, we had a big response to the ice storm, but what are the other risks that we might face as a fairground, and how can we prepare for that? So we've talked about that a little bit as far as mass casualty events or train derailments or other types of events that could happen, flooding issues or whatever. But Laura, can you just kind of talk about, and I just want to make sure you get a chance to say how prepared we are for those types of situations.
Sure. So we've met, I think, twice as an entire campus, so including representatives from Market Street, Geodis Park. We had MMPD and the Sheriff's Office represented as well. We all have our emergency action plans. Ours particularly covers some of the things that you mentioned. If there's a tornado or inclement weather, if there's an outdoor event in Fair Park, where do we shelter in place? Where can we evacuate people to? Fires, bomb threats, active shooter, sheltering in place, all the things. So our plan covers that. And we have also sent our plan to our campus partners so that we're all on the same page. It is something that we'll meet on at least annually to review our plans. And I will say that their Market Street has been great to allow us some sheltering opportunities in the event we are over capacity. So, you know, it is something that we coordinate, and we've also included, again, other metro agencies that can be helpful in those situations.
That's great. We're a campus, work together. That's the Nashville way. We all work collectively. I think about my day job working at CMA. When we do CMA Fest, we do a similar thing. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Thank you for having that set up and ready to go. Okay. Now move finally to the old business, but I think we're going to defer most of this because we don't have a quorum. So first we have old business, which is the review of draft policy for naming rights and sponsorships. It's this document right here. So I guess I will open the floor for any discussion on that, or if we want to just kick this down the road. Okay. No discussion. We're gonna defer that. I will say for the record, I'm generally supportive of this, and I'm supportive of providing the maximum flexibility for Laura's staff to negotiate what she can negotiate. So that is going to be, when we discuss it, will be what I say. Let's get the maximum flexibility. All right, now moving to new business. We have a consideration of draft agreement with Nashville Electric Service, NES, related to the solar array installation. This is where we're basically going to put solar panels on the roof and get to sell money back into the grid, or sell energy back into the grid so we can get a credit. We've got two documents here. Interconnection and operating agreement for the power production facility and the Solar Connect power purchase agreement. And we're gonna, I should open it for any discussion. I think we should probably just defer discussion until we have a quorum. Diego?
Yeah, kind of like same thing, right? I think defer it, but
Yeah.
love the fact that we're looking into as many opportunities as we can to keep this sustainable.
So we're gonna defer that. Though I would take both Diego and I as being generally supportive of this approach. And one thing I would like for you to do, Laura, for this one we just talked about and this next one, if we have deadlines that we're running up against, we need to make sure the board is aware so we don't miss an opportunity. Okay, so if we're going to run into an opportunity, then let's like emergency it and get it done. So that would be one direction I give you. Okay. All right, second new business, authorization to accept a grant from the Tennessee Association of Fairs to be used for capital purchases to support the Nashville Fair. This is the one Scott mentioned earlier. I think I'm going to recommend that we also defer this till we have a quorum. Diego agrees. I see him agreeing over there. Again, same thing. If we're going to run into a time crunch on this, let's go ahead and move that via reaching out email, doing a special meeting, whatever we can do.
Yeah, the only thing I will mention is that the NES agreements will take, once Fair Board votes on those will go to council for 3 readings, and then the grant resolution is a single, which really on any of these, I don't anticipate any challenges, but there's further work that needs to be done, further authorizations once it gets through the Fair Board.
Okay, thank you for that, Laura. Okay, any other new business items? Okay, I just have one I was going to note, and that's this issue with our board size and quorum. Kind of frustrating, obviously, not particular towards our colleagues. Everybody has different things that schedule problems, but given the number of people on our board, I think we need to think strongly about what we can do to kind of get that 5th seat filled up or do something to change the parameters, because obviously this is really jamming up Laura and her staff. So Diego, I think for us to think about is how can we try to get another person here so we have enough people to have a
better chances of having quorum. Agreed.
Yep. All right. Anything else? All right, with that, I'm going to move to, I'm not going to move to adjourn the meeting. I'm just going to adjourn the meeting. Adjourned.
Adjourned.
This This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.